do this thing.
Did you scrape that off the ocean floor?
I sure did not. I basically did. I scraped the jar off of the shelf where it comes from. Welcome to Wine Wednesday. We're happy to see you. I'm happy to bring this to you. Things that you see on the shelves of Caputo's that have to be talked about. I don't know that anybody would be like, I find sea fennel relevant to my interest without knowing about it, so now we're going to tell you about it. And he's got a pairing, and that's why we're here. This is from the Marche in Italy. We're calling it sea fennel. It is called sea fennel, but you'll also see it listed as samphire in some places. But it is a succulent that grows in the craggy rock on the side of cliffs, either in a garden or on the side of the sea. But historically it was transported in seawater, hence being called sea fennel. But this is, I think, the best friend of many of your other favorite things. If you like mortadella, which you should, it goes with that. If you like tin seafood, it goes with all things tin seafood. If you like cheese, it goes with cheese. If you like booze, it goes with booze. If you don't like any of those things, we need to talk, because why are you watching this? Also, what are you eating? You must be a bunny rabbit. So, this is blanched and preserved in really nice olive oil. It is a little bit like peppery, bright, acidic. It brings this kind of mild vegetal flavor that I think is going to complement a lot of lighter, milder proteins. I love it with anchovies, and I love it with sardines, but if you're opening up a can of anything, this should go next to it. So start there. But then when the time comes to make a cheese board, or to make a mortadella sandwich situation, also there. Now you have multiple uses for it. And if all of that fails, cue Francis.
Well, I would counsel you to do the same thing I always do when I counsel you to go to the wine store, and that's go down the aisles that you don't know the language of the thing. I suggest you apply that method to Caputo's, because by searching the dark corners here, you can always find stuff and go to Adri, what's that? I want to put that in my mouth. That looks interesting. What is this? It's like one of those foods that I don't know who had the bright idea to start pulling it off the rocks and eating it, because if it's in a bunch of craggy rocks, it's usually covered with stuff, and you slip and you slide, and I can't help but think of all the poor Italians over hundreds of years who broke an ankle trying to get this stuff. You know what I mean? And so I sort of appreciate their sacrifice, because that stuff is delicious. And it has a very pronounced phenolic vegetal flavor, but predominantly fennel and anise, which rang my bell. I had a bright idea, because I was smearing goat cheese on crackers and putting that on top of the crackers, and I was like, I could see this having a lot of applications. But then the smell reminded me of my favorite gin, which is this. This is a Genever-style gin, of Dutch origin, made in Oregon from rye, barley, and corn, grain mash in-house, and distilled in the copper pot still. And it has a pretty pronounced fennel-y note to it. And so I thought, well, I usually like my martinis dirty, but what if I made them sort of ocean dirty? I had the bright idea to throw a little bit of that in there, and I ended up pouring a lot more gin in that jar and eating it like a little salad than I should have. As far as the martini-based recipe goes, I attribute to the great Scott Gardner at our friends at Waterwitch. 2 parts, 1 part, shake, pour, garnish with the seaweed, and release the Kraken.
Everybody wins. Hi, Waterwitch. We love you a lot. I've got sea fennel to eat. It's probably my teeth, so we abort mission, and now I go snack.
I've got sea fennel to drink.
We'll see you when we see you. Have a great week. Be nice to each other.
Cheers.